greater the homeopathicity and higher the potency is selected. And it does much more injury than any equally large dose of a medicine that is unhomeopathic. Why, just before we have said, the remedy was a correct remedy. From this we can tell of Hahnemann's own teaching. How much will be the homeopathicity, means the degree of similarity. That much there will be injury if the dose is large. Hahnemann does not speak about potency. He speaks about doses. When the potency was not a problem for Hahnemann, he ultimately said the 30 is the highest potency. So range of potency, this was done by the American homeopaths. That is especially by Kent, having supported Kent. So from this reference we can take. In observation number 1, the aggravation was so severe because the drug was perfectly similar. Greater homeopathicity was there. Now in chronic disease, it is ascribed, but if these aggravated original symptoms appear on subsequent days, still of the same strength as at the beginning, or even with an increased severity, it is sign that the dose of the antipsoric remedy, although properly selected according to homeopathic principle, was too large, and it is to be apprehended that no cure will be effected by it. What we said, we are searching the Hahnemannian teaching that motivated Kane to write the second prescription and prognosis chapters, and what really motivated Roberts to write another chapter in his philosophy book. So this is there in chronic disease. Volume 1, page number 120, reprint 2000 BJ. Now, the second observation. Now, in conclusion, that means if that is the condition that had happened in case number 1, that is prolonged aggravation followed by final decline of the patient, you have to decrease the potency. When you have given the higher potency of that particular agent. So always the potency is high, that is not. So in the first instance, the initial prescription was higher, you have to prescribe in a low potency for the next time. Now the second instance, a prolonged aggravation, then very slow improvement of the case. This is observation 2 of K. Now here the condition was alike of your first condition, but only there was some reversibility lied in the tissues. So when the physician lost his hope, it is observed the patient started showing gradual improvement. Now what? The action of the medicine is not to be disturbed till the dose has worn off. You should not interrupt it. Wait and watch. See what happens. But in order to see, you must have to clinically evaluate the condition. Because our weight should not cross the golden time. You know the word golden time. That is a particular time span. If a medical treatment is started, that can save the life of the patient. And they are writing the prognosis is definitely favorable. Now, aphorism 245 reads, I am not reading it whole, only the red lines. this to be the case, and if an improvement in the disposition and mind have already been observed, the medicine must have affected positive dimension of the disease, or if sufficient time have not yet elapsed for this, it will soon affect it. Clear cut Hahnemannian guideline. You may see the improvement in the level of disposition and mind. So wait and watch and see. You must give time and master right. It will affect. So it is not something produced in the mind of Kent. This is from Hahnemann directives. Because they were the very good readers of organon. So they understood organon 100 times better than us. So they actually picked the typical areas that is helpful in practice. No other people in the world did that much well as Kant did with Hahnemannian own philosophical writings. Now the conclusion is there was mistake obviously, because that was the beginning or semi-established cases of irreversible pathology, and there also the potency should be low, and naturally the physician failed to understand the case and given a hypothesis. The pathology acts as a block to bring the relief, no doubt. But because it was not entirely irreversible, so the patient came back from the verge of death. This is the teaching we are getting from the case number 2, misobservation 2. Now, fifth observation. Amelioration comes first, then aggravation. This is only partially or superficially similar. You have to prescribe a more similar medicine after recasting. Prognosis is bad. So he is writing definitely antipathic in nature. Or it is a partially selected drug. You have to retake the case. You have to select a more perfect similar to this condition. So this occurs in many occasions. Doctor, the first dose acted nicely. Now I am not getting any result. Remind it. Introspect. Where the problem had taken place. This should continually go to your mind. Because you are the best judge of your own case. Now if you read approach on 256, a red line only, in thysical patients with a lung abscess. Thysical means? Thysis means tuberculosis. So that is called thysis in the old days. So a patient of tuberculosis with a lung abscess, we must not believe this assurance, but regard his state as aggravated, as it will soon be perfectly apparent it is. So you have got a deeper existing pathology. Don't play. When you have doubt, then stop. When you have got doubt, then give superficial. Enough time is there. You can get the perfect constitutional remedy for this. Don't go with these constitutions. This is the caution that is coming from masters. Chronic disease writes, yet when a sudden, great and striking improvement Yet when a sudden great and striking improvement of a tedious great ailment follows immediately on the first dose of a medicine, there justly arise much suspicion that the remedy has only acted palliatively and therefore must never be given again, even after the intervention of several other remedies. Straightway it is written by Master. If after the first prescription or your drug in a grave condition, the person is getting immediate relief, that is not good. Arise much suspicion that the remedy has only acted palliative and so must never be given again. Introspect. So this is the master step. Now, the sixth observation. These are all the states when you have to repeat the potency, repeat the same remedy in a lower potency. Too short relief of symptoms as sixth observation rates. In acute disease, the medicine has to be repeated much oftener. In chronic disease, the medicine is partially similar. Straight written. Acute disease, you may repeat. Chronic disease, medicine is partially similar. When too short relief of the symptoms are taken. There is a condition which interferes with the action of the remedy. Structural changes have occurred or organs are destroyed. Definitely they are right. In acute disease, a more similar medicine is to be found out and given. In chronic case, there is a very pernicious, there is a very precarious condition, is bad condition. In chronic cases, the prognosis is worse. Because you try to understand. Since last 3 or 4 or 5 slides, we are talking with the cases where irreversible, life-endangering pathology is there. And here, if we go with the writing or direction of the masters, you can bring out perfect palliation to this case. Perfect palliation. Because you cannot cure everything. This is the caution that is given. These are the cases for palliation. You try to understand. Don't show your overzeal. You will not be able to do. Now, the seventh observation, we said this thing before also. So this is the perfect case for palliation. Where the patient is not at all in a condition to be improved much because of the existing organic pathology. And they are writing the organopathic medicines may be used. Organopathic medicine is the very shortly or briefly proved drugs. And these drugs has got an organ affinity. For example, Sava cerulata in case of enlarged glands, especially prostate gland. These drugs. Now, the second part. The change of the remedy. So that we'll discuss in our next